Hello and welcome to Pastor's Library. I'm Stephen Redman and this is the channel where we discuss all things to do with theology books and whether they might be involved in reading lists that you have for university, for seminary, for Bible college, or whether or not they just appeared on your minister's bookshelf and you want to know more. What we try to do is help you a little bit with knowledge on these matters. And so if what you hear today you like, please give us a thumbs up and please remember to click subscribe and click the bell, and that way we will let you know immediately there is a new episode of Pastor's Library released. So today I want to talk to you about a very new commentary series called Christ-Centered Exposition. These are all paperbacks, they're all very reasonably priced. By that I'm talking about less than £10, £8.99, £9.99 in British money. These are very, very competitive indeed. They're also very flexible, and I would suggest to you, you can tell if you've been looking at them quite a bit. They aren't very substantial, and so perhaps are not ideal for the heavy user. But what they do offer is quite a different style. So the layout of these is quite different. It starts with a heading, you will get a reference to read, and then it will move on to some subheadings, and you will get an explanation of the text, and you will get a little bit of a talk around the text. And then you will get the chapters ending with objects for reflection and discussion, as well as a conclusion of each chapter. Now, these seem to be written primarily by pastors, and there's nothing wrong with pastors writing theological works, but these are not perhaps the type of person that you expect to see a theology book written by. I don't know quite how to put into words what I feel about this series, but my first reaction when I got three different books to look at in the series, my first reaction was, I don't really like these. Firstly, these are not an academic book, and personally, I am more comfortable with an academic book. And neither are these particularly international in their marketplace appeal. These are American in the main, and they read like they're written by an American. But I have to say, as I really spent a bit of time going through them, I realised that I've probably been a little bit judgmental, and that actually they really do offer something. For example, this one, which is Revelation, and you can see by the way it's bent, I have been using this a bit. This really sort of starts off by making clear that it's not a dispensational work, and it talks about the real nature of it as an apocalypse, and goes through section by section. For example, when it gets to chapter 12, it talks about this as being a nativity section, and it quotes Eugene Peterson, who said that previously. And frankly, when I read through this, I thought, yeah, this is John giving us his take on the nativity of Jesus, which he didn't really give us in his gospel, but he gives it in Revelation. And I found it actually quite a helpful presentation. This is really aimed, I think, at people who are leading groups where they have discussions afterwards. It's ideally set up for that. And this is certainly something that I can imagine a pastor producing a preaching series from. This is also something which, unlike most commentaries, you really can see yourself starting at the beginning and reading it to the end. This is not a heavy-duty difficult book to comprehend. It's actually quite good. And I have to say, the one on Revelation, which was the first one I picked up, I really have become quite fond of. Would I want to have this instead of any other commentary I have? Well, the answer to that is no. I would still want Gordon Fee's commentary on Revelation. I would still want Auni's. I would still want Mounce's. There are various commentaries which I consider to be essential on the book of Revelation. But there is a place for this. And particularly if you don't have an academic bent and you're pastoring and teaching, I can see that this could actually be quite helpful. I suppose the only thing that I found slightly offensive was a quote from the serial killer Manson, but it was only for effect, and realistically I don't think the author was trying to make out that it was particularly important. But this one's a good one. John's Gospel is a good one. I found John to be helpful too. And if you're looking at some of the difficult points, like the man who was born blind, it has something good to say about that. And I found it very helpful. I also got one of the Old Testament copies, which was Isaiah. Now, most commentaries sort of have a break at the end of chapter 39 and sort of make out, we think there's been a big discontinuity here. We've got first Isaiah, second Isaiah, that type of thing. And this doesn't really look like that at all. This is just really keeping your concentration on the scriptures and helping you through each chapter. And for example, there are lots of tables of what he's going to discuss, which are helpful. There is a great deal of focus, like I've said, on reflection. So, for example, this is just one I picked at random about Isaiah 64. And it says, why do you think Christians are tempted to be ashamed of the potent and graphic images of God's wrath in Scripture? Actually, that's a good question. Sometimes people say, oh, the Old Testament's got a wrathful God and the New Testament's got this God of love and we ought to forget that God. But sometimes there is an emphasis on us that we ought to sort of sweep him under the carpet. But actually, he's a God of love in both Testaments. And he introduces himself to Moses as a God of love. He is a God of love. And I think there's some good questions here, well thought out questions that will help you in a discussion group. And fundamentally, a lot of churches done that way these days, and for good reason. And it gets people thinking. And so I suppose what I'm saying to you is when I first picked these up, I thought, but when I'm putting them down, I'm thinking, actually, these are good. I don't think they're for me, but they are good, and I can think of pastors immediately who would definitely benefit from them, even though they're a little bit American for my liking, but they are very worthwhile. So don't dismiss them at £8.99 a copy, £9.99. These have something to offer. Don't dismiss them by the fact you don't know the names of any of the authors. That's absolutely fine. Take them as what they are and recognise that they are a bit different to most commentaries, but these are definitely aimed at the pastor / house group leader, and I hope you'll find them useful to some degree. Would I replace another series with them? Well, no, I simply wouldn't, but that's me, and for you it might be quite different. I hope that's helped. If it has, please remember to give us a thumbs up on YouTube, and also remember to click subscribe and click on the bell, and then you will be automatically notified of a new edition of Pastor's Library. God bless you until next time.